Okay, Shalom Aleichem. We're going to continue another 10 minutes. Sichos Haran. Okay, so we're holding by 17. Yitzchok, yeah? It starts off, Chiach is Echad, ala smudas halimid v'omerloi. Nachman, rebuked, somebody on his hasmuda in his limit, on his consistently in learning. And he said, Madia lo tilmat. He said, why did you learn? Why did you learn Torah? He said, what are you going to lose out by not learning? Or by learning? He says, you're going to get Olam Haba when you learn Torah. Continuing, and he explains, and I don't know, I'm not talking about, he explains, that when a person, gets to a place where the Torah actually shows itself with love to the person, because then if a person merits that, then he doesn't even want Olam Haba anymore. He can merit that he just wants to learn Torah because the Torah shows a certain love to him. Okay? Continuing, now he explains, he says, even Hashem learns. As it says in Chazal, the Gemara says, this is in the Masechtas Avodah Zarah, Daf Gimel Amud Beis, says the following: Seder Hayom sheyesh LaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is Hashem's Seder Hayom every day. Shalosh shows Ezik B'Torah V'Chili. That part of Hashem's daily thing is 3 hours. Hashem's Ezik B'Torah. Continuing, he explained, if a Torah is halali b'B'Seini, and he says that in our generation, this is his generation, right? No for limit Torah, the limit of Torah fell. It fell. Okay, continuing. He says, he says, you should know, he says, the Gedolim, the big tzaddikim in the previous generations, the Heini Rabbanim HaGedolim, he's saying the Rabbanim, the Gedolim, show us that they used to be, they didn't know any kavanas, because this is referring to Kabbalah, Zohar, because I don't know if how well this is known, but Zohar was only revealed, was only Megala in the year like 1200 something, so meaning the Rambam is before the Zohar was revealed. Obviously, the Zohar is from Rashbi, from the Tanoim, from the Gemara's time, from the Mishnah's time. But so he's explaining over here that the Gedolim from previous generations, they didn't know Kavanas. Okay, even though they were able to moifsim, rak and they limited Torah just by studying Torah. Through studying the Torah without Kabbalah, they used to say something and that thing was Mekayim. Okay, that's the end of Yitzchok. So just gonna give a little sum this up. Rav Nachman, he was giving techacha on hasmod limits. On if they constantly be learning Torah. He says, what are you going to lose by not learning Torah? You're going to get Olam Haba. And he explains that which this will happen if a person, is able to get into learning, then the Torah already reveal itself, and he won't even do it for Olam Haba. Okay? And he shows you, even Hashem, 3 hours a day, Hashem's studying Torah. Okay. So we're going to continue. We're going to do Yitzchok 18, yeah? This is, one time, this is apparently Imoy. This is Rav Nosson saying, one time, he was telling him over, Me'inyan atposas svarim, Shabbadoris halali. This Rabbi, he says that one time he was discussing this, what's happening in his generation. The printing of svarim was becoming very popular, because this is when the printing, press was still in the beginning stages. He says, very much. He says it's been very popular. These printers, and they're busy printing, more and more Sefarim of the Rishonim and the Achronim. Yeah, continuing. He says the Kafsi Aleim is Avina Ma'oid, and he says people are jumping to go buy these Sefarim. Because now everyone's buying Sefarim. He explains further. Rabbi Nachman says the following: Ki Amri Rabbi Sein Zchav LeBracha. The Gemara says, Chazal say that I see the Torah shetishachach mi Yisrael. This is from the Gemara that the Gemara says that Torah will be forgotten from the Yidden. Okay, continuing. So he says Al Kain. Therefore, matpitzim Sfarim harbei. That's why they're printing many Sfarim. Chalech koin Sfarim, and everyone's busy. Everyone for themselves is buying Sfarim. They should use Sfarim biyad kol echad, so that everyone should have Sfarim, in their home. They should let the shachach Torah, so that we shouldn't lose the Torah. They really have Sfarim from all the Sfarim that everyone has, right? He's explaining why printing presses is growing and why everyone's buying the Sfarim. He says because we know that Chazal warned us that Torah will be forgotten. So he says that's why everyone's rushing to buy the Sfarim, and like this. That hopefully we're going to prevent that we should lose the Torah. Continuing, he said even by a tailor, and simple people like a tailor. We find now Sfarim, and they have Sfarim. He says, and everyone's buying Svarms, so that each person, is making sure that by them they have all the Svarms, so the Torah shouldn't be forgotten, through this. Okay, continuing. He says, but he says, but this they don't know, which is that if you don't learn the Torah, if you don't study the Torah, right? Then having the Sfarim won't help you, right? Chazal say Torah will be forgotten. So everyone's busy buying Sfarim, but what they don't know is that if you're not going to study it, the Torah will be forgotten. He says, he says, because of our many sins, errors, no for lim the Torah ma'oid. He says, studying of Torah, it fell very, very much. But limiting miyat ma'oid, and studying the Torah is very few people are doing it. And he finishes off. He says, he says, what's the benefit of all these Sfarim? To prevent that the Torah shouldn't be forgotten. If we're not going to study it. Okay, so that's the end of Yitches. So just to sum this up a little bit, he was explaining the concept. When the printing press was starting, everybody was rushing to buy the Sfarim. And he's explaining the reason is because, as the Frum Yidden, we all know the Chazal, right? You have to realize at the time we had big tzaddikim, Baal Shem Tov's time, everyone was buying Sfarim. And Rabbi Nachman was explaining because we know this Chazal that, Torah will be forgotten, everyone's buying the Sfarim. But he says, what they don't know is that if you're not going to study the Sfarim, then the Torah will be forgotten. Okay, so I think we all know what we can take out from this, because if Rabbi Nachman was saying in his time that limited Torah with all the tzaddikim was low, we have to realize what's going on. Hayan, Baruch Hashem, we do have so many Sfarim. So we need to take tremendous chizuk and to be studying Torah. And the beginning of what he explained is that he would give Techacha, why are you not studying the Torah? He says, you're going to get Olam Haba. And he's like, and he said, even if, he says, I'm not talking about the special, enjoyment you're going to get when the Torah starts showing its love to you. Then you're not even going to care about Olam Haba, meaning you're going to want to just learn Torah just because it's enjoyable. Okay, we'll continue with the Yid test, okay? You know what? We're going to stop over here because it's already almost 10 minutes. Okay.